Hey, welcome back to TFG Indian Football Roundup presented by Rayor. The 2020-21 football season has not been fully normal to say the least, and although we have ISL going on in full swing and I League is also happening with a new format, but it's a reasonably good effort, the actual impact of the pandemic has been felt in state leagues. In fact, most of the prominent state leagues, including the Calcutta Football League, the Mizoram Football League, they have all been cancelled for the season, which makes Kerala Premier League an interesting thing to look at. Actually, right now, KPL is the only state league with a proper commercial broadcaster that's having a full season. And given how competitive it has been over the last couple of years, I thought this would be a really nice time to take a look at the league and try to experience it through the lens of a particular club. And to provide the point of view, I thought let's go with one of the newer clubs who are participating because that way we can sort of capture the journey the people of the club go through to really build a new institution from the ground up. And in that sense, Luka Soccer Club I thought would be a perfect vessel because it's a new team. It comes from a very important region when it comes to Kerala football, Malappuram. It's extremely competitive. In fact, it finished just 1 point short of qualifying for the semi-finals last season, and its ascending national ambition sets it apart from most other KPL clubs. In fact, last season Luka SC were looking into an opportunity to get into I League as a new corporate club. That did not work out, but they have decided to use KPL as a means to get into the second division league and try to win their way up to I League and maybe even ISL in the future. And given the overarching presence of Kerala Blasters and the rise of Gokulam Kerala FC, if Luka SC managed to establish themselves as a competitive team in the national stage, that would be a really big achievement. So, to go into the beginnings of what is potentially an epic journey, today we're talking to Vaibhav Srivastav, who is the CEO of Luka SC. He's been with the club from its early days and he goes into details of the evolution of the club from an academy centric institution to an ambitious state league club that's trying to take on the giants and assert their presence. So let's go into the conversation. So, Vaibhav, you have been working with Luka SC for how long now? Couple of years?
I have been there since February 2019. So I completed 2 years last February.
Wow, nice. We always hear the stories of these big franchises who get started at the national level and they get a little bit of a head start, but the struggles that are faced by clubs that are starting out from the local league, the experience that they face is pretty different. So you were associated with some of the clubs that are up there in the national league, and when you started working at KPL, how different did you find the whole system?
To me, uh, it wasn't hard at all because ever since I joined the club, I knew what the structure was like, and I did my groundwork, before joining this club. So before I came to this club, this wasn't a club. We were in an academy, and we planned to, remain an academy uh, for a long, long time. But later on, we realized that in order to promote our players, in order to give them an adequate platform, we had it to jump the ship. We had it to go all the way to the top. So that's where we thought that okay, there might be a chance for someone like us to play the top division. So initially there was no chance for us to play the I League or second division or any national tier because we were a completely new club and we were not even registered to the KFA when I joined this club. So our registration was completed in May 2019. So only after we got accredited to KFA, things started falling in place. So our first aim was to start from the state level because, as I said, I knew from the outset that the entire process is going to be challenging and there will be a lot of constraints, especially financially, and especially for a club like us, who did not have any background and who did not have any investors, sponsors as such. So we had to do a lot of groundwork initially, and we had to play from the lower tier itself. So, in my opinion, the experience has been quite satisfying, and I have not felt any differences as such. But I do feel that we as a club are one of the most strongest clubs in India right now because the way we have been progressing, we have excelled even our imaginations because we did not think that we will be here. If you ask me, we thought that we will be in the KPL in 2021, but we got accredited. We got approved to play the KPL from 2019 itself. So our success has been quite satisfying, and we have had more than 25% growth rate per year. So I feel that we as a club are a club with difference, and we can do a lot of things because we have built our foundations. We have done enough grassroots work, and we have connected with all the people, in the ground level. So I feel that we can do a lot of things in the time to come.
So is that why you went with like a all local squad on your KPL debut season because you wanted to give the academy boys a platform to perform at a proper league?
A- Absolutely, that was our main vision, and that is still our philosophy. Because even this year, we signed more than 95% Malayali players. So our philosophy has not changed. And as I said, we jumped the ship only because we felt that we needed to provide a platform to the youth of Kerala, to the local players who had the talent, who had everything, but did not have the exposure that was required. So, giving them a platform was always our vision and is still our vision. And I think that this is something that we will not change in the time to come, no matter where we play, because honestly speaking, I think the current set of Malayali players are one of the best in all aspects, physically, uh, psychologically, and strategically as well. I'm not sure if you have seen the youth players of Kerala, the current youth players, because you might be seeing the national players. But if you see the youth players, you will be amazed by the talent they have and the type of football they play. So we don't have to look elsewhere. We have enough players in our side, and we feel that Kerala will contribute a lot to Indian football in the coming years.
You were not just looking at KPL, right? I mean, last year you were also looking at getting an I League direct slot as a corporate club. So, how was that coming about, and why did you decide to postpone that plan for now?
Yeah, I will tell you, Chiranjit, this is also something that happened naturally. This did not happen overnight. After we finished our first season in the KPL,
Mm.
we were almost in the knockout stages. And for a club
Yeah.
that is completely new to the system, for a club that started only a year ago, we felt that we had an amazing season in the KPL. And the teams we faced against, those teams were already a part of the national setup. I'm talking about the likes of Gokulam, Kerala Blasters, FC Kerala. Those teams were already there. And, we saw that we were almost at par with those teams. So we thought that if those teams can manage and, remain in the national tiers, then why can't we? So after the first season finished, we thought that, okay, there is a scope for us to, start playing the higher division leagues as well. And, to play the I League or any national league in India, you have to invest a lot of money. And one thing that is certain is the returns will not show up from the first year itself. It will take a lot of time for that investment, to equate to returns. So, we knew that whatever money we invest, we have to invest with a mentality that we will be facing losses. So that was always there in our mind. And we talked to some people, some ambitious people who wanted to do something. in Kerala, and we met Mr. Saji from Abreko. Abreko, you might be aware, they are our current sponsors. So Mr.
Yes.
Saji was the one who initiated this process. He was the one who said that why not we play the higher division leagues, and he assured 100% backup, 100% support, and that is what he has done throughout. So after talking to Mr. Saji, we felt that okay, we can play the I League. Why should we go for the second division league? No, which will automatically become the third division after the ISL gets recognized as the top division in India. So we thought that if there is a scope for us to play the I League directly, then why should we waste our time in the second division league, which is the third division at the moment? And AFF started, accepting bids. I think they started this bidding process in January after the KPL season finished. So AFF rolled out tenders and all, and we started talking to people from KFA. We talked to some people from AFF as well. We started making the moves, but one thing we were not sure about is how many teams are going to get selected and what the
Mm.
criteria was. Because honestly, if you bidding for are bidding for a spot in the National League, one thing you must know is what your chances are, whether you will be able to make it or not, because the whole process is very exhausting and it can be consuming as well. So, there was not much clarity, and we thought that it did not make sense at all, just to bid for a spot and then remain seated for nothing. If we knew what the criteria was, then we would have prepared ourselves, and we would have executed the criteria that was necessary. But we did not have any information, and because of lack of information, we thought that we are not in a position to enter the I League now, and we thought that we would suffer a lot of damages. Our credibility will get destroyed if we were rejected by the FF on any grounds. And we knew we had some limitations, because the grounds we have and our entire setup is not owned by us at the moment. It has
Yeah.
it has been it has been given to us on lease, so we are renting out the infrastructure we have right now. So we were not sure whether we would be selected or not, and we thought that in order to save ourselves from humiliation, we should wait for some time, and we should wait for the ISL to become an open league uh, before making such move.
Okay, so now the plan is to get into second division league?
Yeah, obviously, because now we know that if we finish in the top half of the KPL, then we will qualify for the third division league. Which I'm sorry to say, but the second division I league is right now the third
It's a
division I league.
third tier
The
league,
third
yeah.
division, yeah, third tier league in India. So we know this that if we finish in the top half, then we will enter the competition on merit, and I think it makes more sense to play such competitions on merit instead of taking a shortcut route. So
Okay, just to get something clear for me is like you finished 1 point below the second position of Group A, right? You didn't make it
yes,
into the semifinals, but
yes,
finishing third in Group A does not make you top five in the league. Then, like,
yeah, that
what's
is
the
true.
criteria we are looking for?
See, last season you cannot compare us with last season, because last season all the players we had were completely new, and they had no experience, and most of them were our academy graduates. So they did not have any experience, and
Mm.
they were mostly amateur players. But this season we signed a lot of experienced players. We signed some players from Kerala Blasters, Gokul and Kerala, and we signed some players from Jamshedpur as well. So this season, we have strengthened our departments, and we have added more experienced players. And in order to fill up the gaps, we have signed two foreign players as well, Bala Lassan and Kofi. So I think our squad right now is completely different to what we had last season, and anything can happen. It's a matter of 5 games, and in 5 games, in the current scenario when no one has played in no one has played football for the entire year, anything can happen. Anyone can
Yeah,
progress, and the group we are in is the group of death, because all the
yeah,
clubs in our group are looking for that knockout spot. So at this moment, I cannot give you any guarantees, but our ambition is to win the league, because we felt that there is a there is an opportunity for a club like us to win the KPL. And for that, we needed to strengthen some areas, which we have already done. And we have signed some foreigners as well in order to be
yeah. I
fully secure.
understood that. See, that's not the point. So what I was actually a bit confused about is, like you said, when you finish top five in the KPL, you get a chance to you. I mean, you get considered for a place in the second division league, right? So you finished third in the group stage, group in Group A, right? And
Yes.
that kind. So the top two teams from each group went on to the semifinals, which makes them the top four of the of the league, right? And if you're looking at in terms of points, you finished with 10 points, just 1 point below Kerala Blasters FC reserves. So I think that makes you the fifth team in the KPL itself in last season. So you already are one of the top five clubs in KPL. You see
Yes.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
yeah,
understood your question. You're trying to ask me how we can expect a chance to play the second division I League after
yeah. So
finishing
you,
fifth.
I think you are already there. Like if you're talking about being top five, you're already there. So what is the specific criteria that you have to fulfill now to be considered in second division league?
Right, right. So first of all, what the KFA told us, last season's league will not be considered, for qualifications
No,
for the upcoming I League.
I'm just assuming by quality you are already you produce a similar performance. You finished in the top five of the league, or you do even better. But what is the specific target that you're facing right now?
Okay, okay, okay. So, if we finish, let's say, below Kerala Blasters and Gokulam, considering that they finish in the top two positions, then we will qualify by default, because Kerala
Oh,
Blasters and Gokulam are already the two confirmed representatives uh,
oh,
from Kerala. So, we are fighting for the spot below Kerala Blasters and Gokulam. But our target this season is to win the KPL. We don't want to leave any stones unturned, because, as I said, anything can happen. We cannot be expecting to finish in the third position and eyeing a spot in the second division I League. That's not how the system works, because practically anyone can finish in the top two positions. But in order to be secured, no, we want to win the league. It's as simple as that. And I've said this on record in many places that our ambition right now is to win the KPL.
So you already produced a really good level of performance for a newcomer club. You were just 1 point away from qualifying for the semifinals, and you got a win over Gokulam Kerala FC reserves, and you had a draw with Kerala Blasters reserves, who went on to become the champions. You pretty much showed that you were out there and able to perform with the best in KPL with local players. Given that context, what did you resolidify, and what did you reinforce to sort of go over the finishing line?
Honestly speaking, we first started working outside the field. We knew that last season we were short on manpower, and we had many limitations, as I said, not just financially, but in terms of resources as well. So the very first thing we did was recruit some professionals, recruit some coaches, some trainers, just to make sure that we fill up all the gaps, because the real work happens, behind the scenes. And with professionals, you are guaranteed that your players will be at the top level. They will be there giving their best day in, day out. So the first thing we did is we signed Mr. Rajiv, who was with Gokulam Kerala in 2018-19 season, and he has a record of a few unbeaten games. I think he's the only coach who has an 8 or 9 game unbeaten run in the KPL till now. So we hired him right after a season finished. He was the first person to come on board, and he was given the position of technical director because he has a lot of experience in this field, and he holds an A license as well. And we signed some more coaches. We signed Mr. Hayden Jose, who was with Wake Up and Barcelona Academy. And Hayden is like one of the best young coaches in Kerala right now. He's just 24, 25, and the work he has been doing is amazing. He has won us all over. And we brought some people, in the fitness department as well. We signed a strength and conditioning coach, Mr. Saifullah, who previously worked with Chennai FC, and we signed a physiotherapist. We signed a lot of professionals, and we filled up man, uh, the management department first, and then we started working on the administrative department. We signed some guys, with marketing experience, with operations experience, because we needed to secure ourselves financially as well. Last season, we did not have any sponsors as such, and whatever money we invested literally came out of our own pockets. So we signed these people with the vision, to fill up the financial requirements we had. And these guys, they brought in a lot of partners, a lot of sponsors, and we don't have to pay for anything at the moment. Even for a football, we don't have to spend any penny out of our pocket. But last season, it was quite the opposite. So, we signed some trainers, and we signed some administrative people. And after that, we went all out with the player signings. And what we did is we retained the core of last season, because, as I said, those players, performed beyond our expectations, and
Yes.
we did not expect such performance, to be honest, because, as you mentioned, we were the only club to beat Gokulam in the group stages. We
Yeah.
managed to get a draw against Blasters as well. Blasters, who were the champions, who went on to become the champions. So we retained most of the players from that squad, and we signed some players, some new players, only those who had relevant experience and who could match our requirements. So we signed some players from Kerala Blasters reserves team. We signed some from Gokulam Kerala, and a few guys came from outside the state. There is one guy called Akash Dave. He played in the second division I League for Jamshedpur Reserves. So he's also one of the players we recruited this season. And alongside that, we thought of signing foreigners as well, because our squad lacked experience. Our players were not there psychologically. Physically, they were giving their best, but outside the field, it was the opposite story. And even this season, we faced some issues, some leadership issues. So it was given, and it was a no-brainer that we needed to sign some experienced, quality foreign players. So we brought this guy, Bala Al Hassan. He was with Garwal FC, and he played in last season's second division I League. And I don't know if you saw him play or not, but he was one of the best players in the tournament. And Bala is someone who has played in Kerala as well. So he understands Kerala better than anyone else, even better than the local players. I'm talking about football in Kerala. He was with FC Kerala, and he could play in a lot of positions. He could play in the attack, he could play in midfield, and he could play in the defense as well. So he gives us that option, to uh, to make our team more flexible. And we signed another guy, Kofi, because signing a foreigner was also very difficult due to paperwork requirements, due to a lot of bureaucracy in the process, and it was not possible for us to bring someone from outside or someone who just left the country. So we had to go with whosoever was around. So this guy was there, and we signed him in 2 days period. So that's how quickly we signed all the players, because the league started approaching, and only last month we came to know that KPL will be happening this season. Because prior to that there wasn't any concrete information whether the league will happen or not. But only last month KFA intimated us that the KPL will happen, and it will happen before the elections.
So, you have strengthened the top, so to speak. The first team is much stronger now, and you're competing for the title. At least, there's a good chance you're going to end up in the playoffs and get a prominent spot as one of the top KPL clubs. But one of the important roles that clubs like Luka SC play, at least in my perspective, is that since they are so rooted as a team with a strong presence in the locality that they come from. They're very approachable for young players who are playing at the academy level to get a chance to showcase themselves, start playing from the bottom, go up the ladder, and use that as a vehicle to get a chance to play at the very national level, at the highest level. So, what changes and what extra additions has been made on the academy side and on the youth development side over the last couple of years?
If you don't mind, I would like to take you to the period when I joined this club, because I
Sure.
think that will give you a clear idea what I'm trying to express. So
Mm.
I joined this academy, this club in 2019, February 2019, and the moment I stepped foot, uh, there was literally nothing, to be honest, and we had to start from absolute zero. We had to build ourselves from zero, from the scratch level. So
Mm.
when I went there, we had a lot of issues in regards to the infrastructure, in regards to the resources, and on the top of that, the finances as well. And Malappuram, with due respect to Malappuram, Malappuram is a remote area where you don't have the access to all the facilities you need for youth development. I know
Mm.
this has been used as an excuse. People have gone overboard with this infrastructure thing. But I think for youth development, it's necessary that you give your players a decent setup, if not the best, because not everyone can afford the best setups. So, uh, the infrastructure part I'm talking about, we had only one ground, and we had a collaboration with a school in Moriyur. Moriyur is a town in Malappuram. So the field was not suitable to play football, and it wasn't in its best shape. So from there to here, I think we have made a lot of progress, because we now have 3, 4 grounds which we use simultaneously. We have the main ground located at Calicut, the Calicut University ground. I think you must have seen in pictures. That's the ground we are using to train our players, and we are using it. We are using the ground for both the senior team as well as the youth players, because youth department is something we are very skeptical and serious about. So our youth players are getting to use the same facilities as our senior players. I think that itself speaks volumes about our approach. And we have some turfs, some small 7-a-side fields, which you will find in Kerala a lot. It's everywhere in Kerala. You'll find it mostly on the roadside. So we have 2, 3 such turf in our setup, and we have one more ground at another school. So right now we have 4 to 5 fields, and four one of them is a natural field, natural grass stuff, and 2 to 3 of them are artificial turf, and one is a mud field. So, we have pretty much everything which an academy in India needs for development at the moment in terms of infrastructure. And we have tie-ups with two schools. Previously, it was just one school. Now we have collaborated with another school in Kerala, and they are getting the best education, and they are getting the best boating facilities. And then, in order to make sure that their nutrition is also well looked after, we have our own in-house cook. We have 2, 3 cooks in our team, and our nutrition is prepared by a sports scientist. We are trying to provide the best we could to the players in terms of facilities. And we have 4, 5 age group teams. Previously, we had only one or two, but this season we started another team, the reserve team, which we previously called the elite team. So right now we have 5 age group teams, and all of them are interconnected. And we start from as early as the grassroots phase, and the teams go all the way to the senior level, because the players keep getting promoted as they progress, as they grow with our club. And this season itself, we promoted 6 of our under 18 team players. So we have a pathway for players to play professional football, for the players to grow with us, and we have right now around 100 to 200 players in our core group, and we have 4 to 500 players outside the core group. So we have a lot of players in hand, and we have the right system for players to progress and get the exposure they need. And throughout the year, we play more than 10 tournaments at the youth level, because the most important point is uh, playing competitions, to assess the level we are at. And we were supposed to play this season's Academy League as well. We were there last
Mm.
season as well. We were supposed to play in two age groups, under 15 and under 18. But I think this season, the Academy League will not happen by the looks of it. So we will have to wait for the next season. And you must have seen uh, in the news that AFF decentralized the entire system. So state league clubs can also play the national youth league, the national I
Yeah.
league. So we are a part of the national system at the moment. So uh, we are looking to compete with the best in the country. That is what we are targeting. And I feel that AFF has done the right thing by decentralizing the entire process, because there were a lot of complications, for academies to get into that level. So now there is a clarity in the process, and the entire system is transparent for each and everyone. And I think in the coming period, you will see more and more academies getting involved in these state leagues, the youth leagues, I mean.
Yeah, so that and another important thing that makes Luka SC stand out from most of the KPL clubs, apart from Gokulam Kerala FC and Kerala Blasters, is the potential for local popularity, because you are from Malappuram, which is a football hotbed, and you played from Kottapadi or Kottapadi Stadium as your Kottapadi Stadium as your home ground on your debut KPL season, which is one of the more exciting football stadiums that we have in the country. So you are actually sitting on a gold mine in terms of fan following and the way it can be showcased on a national scale, and the way it can actually elevate the image of a club, in terms of the passion and the quality of the fan base that it has. So you spent a whole season, of course, 2020, 2021, you're not going to get the chance to play in front of fans, as far as I know, at least your home fans. So are you seeing from what you have experienced any upswing uh, in the way the fans are connecting with the club?
I can speak only about our club, because it will not be fair for me to talk about others.
Mm.
As far as our fan base is concerned, yes, there has been a lot of upswings, and the engagements have increased into many folds. We have more than 15,000 followers on Instagram at the moment, and the last season it was just 3,000 to 4,000 people. So we have had 10,000 plus follower growth on Instagram, and we have connected, with more than 20,000 people outside Instagram. I'm talking about other social networking platforms. So a lot of people are following us and we are aware of it. And you will be surprised that 30% of our fan base is located in the Middle East, not in India. So, we
Okay.
have a overseas fan following as well. So I'm not sure how many clubs can brag about this, but we can because we do our analysis. We in our back room, we in our back rooms we assess these things. We sort of uh, analyze the areas where we could expand and the places where we are lacking behind. So one thing that struck us was the fan following we are getting from outside India because a lot of Keralite expats are residing in the Middle East. So Middle East has become their second home now, and we are getting support all the way from there. And the fan following is something uh, which has also impressed us because we did not expect such a growth in 1 year's timeline. And this was not foreseen by us. This was completely unprecedented. But I believe it's because of the work we are doing and because of our strategy, because social media marketing is our number one priority. And when I went there, this thing I made very clear that whatever we have to do, we have to do outside the field. We cannot expect progresses just by doing groundwork. Groundwork is not going to help football clubs a lot these days, and you have to grow through these digital platforms. So digital marketing was my number one target, and I'm very happy that it is reaping rewards for us at the moment. And we are expecting, as we reach the national level, we are expecting to see 50,000 to 100,000 fan following because Kerala, as you mentioned, is the hotbed uh, of Indian football at the moment. And the biggest difference between Kerala and other states in India is Kerala gets maximum support from the youth, from the millennials, as compared to other states. Because I'm from Bengal, so I can talk about Bengal, but I don't see the similarities, uh, in in the demography, in the when we're comparing Kerala with Bengal, because Bengal clubs get maximum support from people who are from the boomer generation, not from the
Mm.
millennials, not from the people who are going to be the future of this country. And that is very unfortunate. And I hope that it changes because in order to grow, you have to get the support of people who are going to be there tomorrow, with all due respect to the generations that are there. But let's be honest, youth is the future. So Kerala has that, and I don't know which other states in India have this advantage, but Kerala definitely has that, and you can see that it's reflecting as well. Kerala Blasters, they have probably 1 million followers on Instagram, and that too all natural followers, all organic followers. I don't think
Mm.
they have paid followers or fake followers as such. Whatever followers they have living beings. They have real followers because you could see it in their engagements as well. They get 100, 200,000 likes. They get 10,000, 20,000 comments, and it's not just limited to clubs. It extends, to players as well. Sahal Abdul Samad is probably one of the most followed Indian football players right now. I think after Sunil Chetri, Sahal Abdul Samad, correct me if I'm wrong, has the highest number of fans in India on social networking sites. So it is evident that Kerala is the place for everyone, not just the clubs but athletes as well. And that's why we are seeing uh, a lot of interest circulating. And even our sponsor, Mr. Shaji, he was also aware of these things, and that's why he decided to invest in a club from Kerala itself, because he himself is an Indian expat. He's residing in Dubai right now, so he's someone who is not based in Kerala at the moment. So he realized all these things, and we showcased the portfolios we have, and he was uh, he was in agreement in a matter of 2 3 days. It just took us 2 3 days to get the entire sponsorship process executed.
So, in terms of having online following that's there, but do you think, let's say you do well in this season of KPL and you get picked to play in second division league next season, and things get back to normal, you get to play your home matches properly in Malappuram. Are you going to get a 10,000 crowd and a full stadium to show for when you are when your matches are being broadcasted to a national audience?
I can hope so, bro. Uh, I cannot say with a guarantee that we are going to get 10,000, 20,000 attendance, because I don't want to fall into problems later on. But I definitely think that it will be a full house whenever we are allowed to play. Uh, we are allowed to play the national leagues in full capacity. So we can remain optimistic, and I hope that it will happen. But this guarantee I cannot give you sitting from here, because clubs like Gokulam and other clubs in Kerala who are playing the national league as well, they are not witnessing such attendances. But Gokulam's attendance has increased over the years. So there's a lot of positives, and we can remain optimistic, because it falls down into many factors. It falls down to the timing of the matches, and the day of the matches, because you cannot expect people to come to the stadium on weekdays, when they are busy with their work, their schools, and all. So it depends, uh, on a lot of factors. But from our end, we will make sure that we fill up each and every seat in the stadium.
This season, you're getting good kickoff times, right?
Yeah, this season our matches will happen, I think, in the evening around 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And
So,
this season, all the games will happen. Yeah, all the games will happen in the weekend. So
that's
you will be seeing matches only on Saturdays and Sundays.
yeah. So that's a really good step towards making the league accessible to viewers. And if this is any trend to look at, you're gonna get pretty fan-friendly kickoff times next season as well. If whether you're playing in KPL or you're playing in second division league, hopefully both.
Absolutely, but more than the timings or the day of the matches, what we need to do is broadcast these matches, because until and unless we start broadcasting or streaming these matches, we won't fulfill the targets we have, because fans will come only when they get to see the matches, from day one itself. So I think the biggest development this season has been getting a full-time broadcaster. You
Yeah.
might be aware that a YouTube channel is going to stream all the matches live,
Yeah.
and they have a pretty good background, because I know the owner of that company, and he worked with Instat before. So Instat, I think, are one of the partners who are broadcasting the I League games right now. They have a tie-up with another company in India, if I'm not wrong. So I think KFA has really pushed this hard, and they know for people to start attending games and for engagements to intensify, they have to stream the matches. because people will get to know only when they see what is happening. And the different one point I could relate this to is the sevens matches, the Kerala
Yeah.
sevens, because sevens still is the uh, bread and butter of football in Kerala. So sevens is still the biggest tournament in Kerala football. So sevens matches are broadcasted, through all the platforms that are
Mm.
accessible and that are within the reach of the sevens teams, sevens organizations, and sevens matches are broadcasted globally. So a part of sevens success has been the people doing such activities. People uh, initiating such activities to make sure that people from all the world are glued, all over the world are glued to what is happening in the field, because not everyone can watch sevens. You can only get 20 to 30,000 people attending the games,
Mm.
not more than that, because seven stadiums are relatively smaller than the 11 stadiums or professional football stadiums. So what they do
Yeah.
is they broadcast the matches, and they make sure that each and every person on the planet gets to see it, and that's how they have been getting the sponsors as well. You know, I think 30 to 40% of sponsorship comes from the Middle East, seven sponsorship. So how they have been able to do is because they have marketed the tournament in a way that people have no doubts, no second thoughts. People just invest, and they know they will be getting the returns as well. So that's how the culture of sevens has been created by the sevens organizers and all the stakeholders. And I think KF is also taking a similar path.
Man, what a story Luka SC has. Most of us like to cheer for the Giants, but it's clubs like these that make the story of a league complete. And without them, the growth of Indian football will not be possible. There are hundreds of institutions around this country which are commonly referred to as the small clubs, but given enough resources and a little bit of luck, they can become the next giants in Indian football, and hopefully Luka SC have taken the first few steps in that direction. Thanks to Vaibhav for taking the time, and if you like conversations like this, do leave a like and subscribe. We will be back with the next episode before you know it. Thanks for listening.